Fresh Art International presents conversations about creativity in the 21st century. I'm Kathy Bird. In today's Fresh Art International podcast, you meet South African artist Donna Kukama. The conversation we recorded on Skype is the second in a series we're producing for Contemporary and, a platform for international art from African perspectives. Donna is a performance artist participating in the 32nd São Paulo Biennial. Her project is a book that takes shape as a series of experiences. During opening days, she presents 3 chapters of the book in performances at 3 cultural sites. Local history and current events inspire the stories that unfold.
It starts with chapter C, which is titled The Genealogy of Pain. And for this work, I'll be performing it at the Cemetery of Consolação. Slaves were the first people that were buried there. It was only much later on that it became an extremely aristocratic space. I'm looking at people that were buried there who have a very specific history. For example, there is a Marquesa de Santos who is considered one of the most important prostitutes in the history of Brazil, who was buried there. Andrea de Maio, who's one of the first transgendered people in Brazil. Maria Judita, who died of domestic violence and is now considered a saint. I'm not only looking at stories of people that were buried in that site. I'm going to expand to other stories of deaths of people that are marginalized, including contemporary stories from the US, from South Africa, and these will not be told in a form that a history book would normally do. It will be a series of shadows that will be projected onto the site.
The second performance represents Chapter A, titled The Anatomy of History. Through a children's game from her home country, the artist tells stories of objects in São Paulo's Afro-Brazil Museum. The final performance, Chapter B, is titled I, Too. In the auditorium of the Biennial Pavilion, Donna reads from a very long scroll.
It's another form of storytelling, but it takes on the form of a list. I'm looking at collective histories. These are larger historical narratives that I adopt as my own. It started with the impeachment of the president, and then it built out into other stories in the world. There will be moments of repetition. Ideas reoccur, yet the events are different.
We always say that history repeats itself.
Exactly. I guess this is why the ending is impossible to arrive at.
I'm Kathy Bird with performance artist Donna Kukama. For the 32nd São Paulo Biennial, she enacts 3 chapters of a book that unfold in video projections, storytelling, and public announcements. Her fractured narratives call to mind the limitless, unresolved issues that cling to our personal and shared histories. We produce this episode for Contemporary and, a platform for international art from African perspectives. Visit freshartinternational.com to learn more about the biennial and hear other conversations from around the world.